Welcome back to Learn BC. We've been talking procurement, purchasing, vendors, and now we're moving in to purchase items. So let's get started. We're going to click on items. From items, we need to create a new item. So we're going to hit new, and with the standard Business Central function, clearly there's been an item template created. We have some setup behind this. For example, if you click item, it creates an inventory item. If you click service, it creates a service item. So there's three types of items you can create: inventory, service, and non-inventory. So we're going to hit this template and let's just see what it does. And I'm going to name this item a R365 example widget, just to be original. Now, you notice something, like the vendor card that got created blocked, we've created the item blocked. In the scenario that you may want to go through an approval workflow, again, request approvals. Approval workflows are enabled as part of items, so we can actually expose that if you wanted to. However, most clients that are mature in this, they've got an inventory manager and they secure the tables. He has access to edit, add, modify, and delete, and subsequently this is not actually required, and we don't use approvals on items, so it's very rare. Let's start from the top. You've got your item metadata. I commonly refer to 5 things on the item card that are important. Okay, so metadata's first. We have our name, we have the item's category. So this example widget is a chair. Okay, and over on the right we have a picture we could load. Let's go grab a picture. I've loaded a Ducati just here, just due to my favorite vehicle of choice. We're going to go down here into the item attributes, and I can hit edit, and I can choose the color, the depth. I don't have a depth here, so I'm just going to go 123. We've got a height of 456 and a width of 500. All right, hit OK. We've got ourselves some attributes here. We've got some a picture, and we've got some descriptions, and we can actually hit the marketing text. Hit that with Copilot. The first time you do hit this, it's going to jump in and say, hey, give me permission. Do you agree to the Microsoft terms and conditions for Copilot? And you've got to agree to it for this to actually function. Here we are as an example of the text that's been used. I chose a tone. Formal, I chose an emphasis of reliability, and it's come up with some metadata, which is great. I'm going to hit keep it, and that's sucked that in against the item. So number 1 is metadata. It's covered up the top here. In the metadata, which using the unit of measure, we'll come back to that. Item number 2 for us, okay, moving past inventory, is actually a cost model. We have FIFO, specific, average, and standard. LIFO is not approved in international accounting standards, so you just won't use it. So whatever this is, most likely the finance team have set it up. We need to make sure the product posting group is correct. For example, if you hit the item that's tables, it should turn around and select something that's going to be the relevant, correct posting group for tables in your organization. And your inventory group is also important. Our cost here, we're going to put $500. Down further, we've got a unit price, and I'm going to set $1,000, and that's what we're going to sell it for. So that's the third section on the item card, is the pricing. You can flick this to use percentage plus, so cost plus percentage, or you can use the price minus cost equals profit. You'll notice here the sales unit of measure. If I go and edit this card, I could add extra units of measure. We'll come back to that. The 4th thing on the card for us is how we replenish. We're going to set right size 365 as the vendor, and the vendor's 5-Duke table. All right, and that's our product number when we purchase from right size 365. Other things we might want to do, we'll put a lead time of 3 days. That helps us know what the lead time is. Now, I'd filled that in from the vendor's card because we put the lead time on the vendor's card. So that's pretty cool. All right, the last thing on the card is to do with the planning. Okay, So now we have fixed reorder quantity, for example. We're going to keep 10 in stock, and when we run out, we're going to order 30. So when we get down to 10, order another 30. All right, and here I could put a safety lead time of 2 days. Safety stock quantity, we could put 2. And that actually rolls into the demand planning. You could use order modifiers. If we don't want to use fixed reorder quantity, we could do per order. And if we're doing serialization, you could be doing lot for lot. Okay, well, an extra thing, the sixth thing on the card, if you are doing it, is your tracing. If you're tracing product, you would want to put a tracking code. So traceability comes down to expiry dates, it comes down to lots, it comes down to serial numbers. All right, let's go right up to the top. We talked about the base unit of measure being in each. Let's go to related item units of measure. All right. Now, we notice here the weight is 0. So one of the things I didn't do against the inventory is set a gross weight, and I'm going to set a net and a gross of 100. I'm going to go back, item, units of measure. I can go in here to weight, 100, and I'm now going to go and set a box unit of measure, and this is going to be 10 to a box, and the weight has multiplied. So this could be 10 by 10 by 10, really simple. And this could be 50 by 50 by 100, okay? As a box. And then we move to a pallet. We can say pallet, and in a pallet we get 100. And from here we get 100 by 200 by 200, okay? As an example. So now we've got ourselves some unit of measure. You've set up your item card. We'll set up our units of measure. What else is there for you to do? You have against the purchase options, vendor purchases, you could set multiple vendors. So we can say, well, right size is a vendor, but we can also buy from these 2 other vendors, and we can set their item codes. So we can say 3 weeks and 1 month. So there's different demand. I'm going to go grab that item number I created here. Let's go back into the item references, and I'm going to put that for right size. Right size here is the right size 365. And the other reference number might be something random. Let's go like this and like, yep, like this. Okay. So now we have, when I buy from this vendor, use this item number for an each. When I buy from this. So let's get a little bit more complicated here for a moment. I'm going to pretend from the vendor that I'm going to buy the same product, but now it's going to be for a box, and I'm going to make that a B on the end. And if we go vendor, same one, same item number, but a P for pallet. And now I'm going to go over to our palette. There we go. So there's some work that's going to help us further in this demo as we move forwards. Now, if you do overwrite the description here, it will overwrite the description on the purchase order. Let's go back. So I'm hitting escape. And the item in principle now is done. All you may want to do, some purchase pricing and some sales pricing. You may want to apply this to a purchase group or a sales customer group. But at the end of the day, at a minimum, this actually looks pretty good. So I'm now going to move on to my next tutorial, which is setting up purchase prices.